Oh, hello friends. Welcome to my not a sewing video. I'm sorry. I have to start off with an apology. I have been late with my videos. For many months, I was getting them out every Friday, and the past few months, it's been a struggle. But more about that later. First, are you drinking your tea? I'm drinking my tea today in one of my favorite mugs. I bought this mug in a little shop that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately, in Bellingham, Washington. I was having a particularly bad day and decided to go for a walk. And I was crying. I was walking down the street crying, and I saw this mug in the window. And it was beautiful, bright colors, happy, orange inside, gorgeous. And I bought this mug, and I went home, and I made tea, and it helped. Not drinking tea though today. I'm actually drinking Alpine spiced cider. It's these little packets you can buy. Well, it's little packets in a box you can buy at the store. I get sugar-free, trying to cut down. I swear the sugar-free tastes exactly the same as the regular, but some of my friends think it doesn't. They do admit that the sugar-free still tastes super good though, so I think it tastes the same. It's so good. It is so good. I've been drinking one of these, maybe two of these a day since the weather turned a few days ago, and we finally got rain and cold, and the leaves are finally changing, and it's finally starting to look like autumn here in the Pacific Northwest. So, Alpine Spice cider. No, I'm not getting paid for an advertisement. I just love it, and I want you to love it too. I apologize if the angles look weird on this video, or if my phone suddenly falls down, or if I rapidly approach the camera. I don't know if you've been following this little journey, making YouTube videos, vlogs, the entire year, but this is my first year doing it. And at the very beginning, I said, no, I'm not buying one of those circle lights. But people kept saying, there's too much shadow on your face, and the angles setting my phone up on like lots of stacked books or boxes wasn't really working out. So I did break down and buy a circle light. I bought the cheapest one that you can get on Amazon at that time that came with a stand. So, and it has done very well until a few days ago when I was trying to adjust the tension on the little rod thingy that sticks out, and I heard something crack, and now the whole top of it is like, it just falls over. You could just blow on it and it will fall over. So it is like, I don't know, holding my phone up by magic right now. Let's just hope it doesn't fall over. But it looks like I may have to get a new rig. So if you have advice for one that doesn't break the bank, I'm all ears. I have to apologize. This is probably the worst makeup and the worst hair that I have ever had in a video. And I know most of the time you guys are like, we don't care. But so my eyeliner was running out, and I ordered new eyeliner, and it came in the mail yesterday, and I was like, yes. And I didn't look at the box first, And I started putting it on, and I'm like, why is it blue? Why is it blue? And they sent me the wrong one. They sent me like blue navy instead of just black. Or navy black instead of just black. So I need to deal with that. But my other liner had run out. So I started smearing mascara like across. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so bad. Anyway, also my hair and my eyes, or not my eyes, well, my eyes a little. My hair, my skin, my body in general, is kind of having a temper tantrum that it's been having for a few weeks now. Basically ever since I got back from my trip to Colonial Williamsburg. You see, my skin, my hair, my body loves humidity. And when I moved from the Utah desert that has zero humidity to Pacific Northwest, Washington, Seattle area that has a lovely, low, beautiful dose of humidity, my skin and my hair ate it up. My skin had never been so soft and not all cracked and dry. My hair had this like natural wave in it that I hadn't seen in years. It was just amazing. Fast forward to, we go on our trip to Colonial Williamsburg for our anniversary. More on that later. We come home. My hair immediately went, I'm dying. Oh, I'm in the desert. There's no moisture here. And my hair is very dramatic. There's no moisture here. Oh no. And it turned into this super dry, crunchy, matted, like ball in the back of my head. And I was like, what is happening? Why is this happening? And I tried to pick through it and my hair was just breaking. And I tried this like soaking it in conditioner in the shower and then picking through it, and that wasn't working. And I tried a couple things I found online. Those didn't work. And so I finally had my husband sit down and we drenched my hair in detangler, and he just very slowly, it took him like an hour and a half, started at the bottom of my hair and had to pick through it, had to rip through sections of hair. It was awful. And then I did this really deep conditioning treatment on it that has left it like overly moisturized and very limp and very like with no body or anything. So this is my hair today. Welcome to my hair. You probably didn't care, but I care, so you have to hear about it. But on a good note, you're going to hear a little bit about my trip. Colonial Williamsburg is amazing. Now, I know you've heard, you have gotten some information, but today I'm going to show you what I bought. Starting with this absolute beauty. So we went to the Jamestown Glass House in Colonial National Historical Park in Jamestown. And because we also, other than just Colonial Williamsburg, we also visited Jamestown and Yorktown. Oh my goodness. And one of my favorite places we visited was the Glass House, which has been running. I'm not going to remember anything, so I grabbed my little paper. Since 1947. No, that's a lie. That's a lie. That's the national park. I can't remember. This has been around since the first permanent English settlement in North America. Made the first glassware in 1608. So anyway, they had a lot of options, and some of them were much more useful, like pitchers and goblets and stuff that were very beautiful. And when I buy my souvenirs, I try very hard to find things that will be useful in some way. Otherwise, they tend to end up in a box eventually. And I'm like digging for something someday, and I'm like, oh, that's that thing I bought on that trip that one time. And then it ends up in the box again. So, but then I saw this, and it was so beautiful, and the glass, you can't quite see it from your angle, but when the light goes through it, oh, it is stunning. And this is called a sparking lamp. They were small oil lamps that were used in the early 1800s to set the duration of a visit for a gentleman caller. When the lamp went out, so did he. And it's got this little glass tube that you put your wick in. And you pull your wick up, and the other side goes down into the oil, and it's absolutely beautiful, and I love it, and it was amazing. It's got a little bit of heft to it, which is nice. I do want to try and use it at some point in time. Now, mostly it's going to be a decoration, but I do want to try and use it. I wish you could see, as I'm dropping my papers, I wish you could see all of the detail. So I'm going to drop my papers so I can show you. If you can see the glass work, can you see this around the base here? I mean, this is blown glass. It's stunning. It's amazing. I love it. The Glass House in Jamestown. Definitely a place to stop. Okay, so there were so many things in Williamsburg I wanted to buy. Williamsburg was by far my favorite. I know I've been over that, so I won't keep going over it. But it was by far my favorite. And there were so many things I wanted to buy. In fact, there was a point in the trip where Handsome Hubby said, I thought you were going to spend more money. And I was like, are you complaining that I'm not spending enough money? He's like, no, but I was prepared for you to spend more money than this. There's more to that story coming up later. Okay, so in the theme of things I could use, here's what I came back with from Colonial Williamsburg. Oh, but first I have to show you this. Okay, so on the flight back, it was us and like this nice lady who sat there and crocheted the whole time. She didn't talk to us. And me and my husband just like talked to each other the whole time, and we watched movies and we like napped on each other and stuff because it's a long flight. It's 5 hours. And when we finally landed in Seattle, she turns to us and she hands us, there's two of them. The other one is buried on the table somewhere. She hands us two of these little crocheted heart, like ornament things, and says, you two are so sweet. Happy anniversary. So she'd obviously been listening, didn't interact with us at all, but made us these little crocheted hearts. Super cute, going in my little treasure box. Okay, something I picked up in Colonial Williamsburg is a pocket. If you are familiar with, I feel like the best way for you to see it is if I put it on my chest. So, you know, I'm not being weird. I'm just, because I talk with my hands. If you're familiar with the 18th century, you know that the women's skirts left a slit in the side that you could kind of wiggle your hand through. And so they tie these pockets underneath their skirts on the sides so they can wiggle their hands through their skirts and into their pockets. Can you make a pocket yourself? Yes. Can you make one very easily? Yes. Did I buy this because I really liked the print? Because I've been too lazy to make my own pockets, and the only one I've made is actually like half the size of this. Way too small for anything but like maybe your phone or your wallet, but not both. and kind of some of the stitches are coming out and it's horrible and awful and I hate it. Yes. So I bought this lovely pocket in this lovely print that has just a really pretty royal blue cotton on the other side. Then I also purchased one of these bonnets. It's called a lappet bonnet. And it's got some little ties right here so that you can tighten it. And it's adorable and awesome. And I have other bonnets, but I didn't have a lappet bonnet, so I had to buy it. What was interesting is when we went to eat in the tavern for dinner, we noticed that the women who worked there, most of them were wearing lappet bonnets, and they tied the lappets back while they worked. So apparently lappets get in the way if you're making hot food or serving or whatever. So the lappets got tied back, at least in Colonial Williamsburg. It's got synthetic lace though, because you know, most of what I bought, it's tourists, it's for tourists, and as a historical costumer, you can do one of two things. Well, yeah, you can do one of three things as a historical costumer when you visit a historical location like Colonial Williamsburg and you go into their shops where they're selling things like this. You can either look at the synthetic lace, which is, you know, very pretty, but obviously very synthetic. Turn your nose up at it and say, ew, synthetic lace, ugh, and walk away from that item. Or you can say, oh, that's very pretty for the people who don't know any better. Good for them. They're still teaching people. Good job. Not for me, but for everyone else. Or you can be like me and say, well, lappet bonnet. It's so pretty. I want one. Maybe someday I'll replace the lace with something more historically appropriate. But in the meantime, I have a lappet bonnet and it works just fine and it's super pretty. Be like me, people. Be like me. Let's talk fabric. There was so much beautiful fabric. There were two in particular that I loved, that I could just see myself in this beautiful springtime dress. I wanted it so bad. Fabric there is just under $20 a yard, which for people like me is a hefty price to pay, especially when you are a bigger person and you need many yards to make your items. Lost all train of thought. Come back! Choo-choo! Choo-choo! Many yards. Oh, many yards. Got it. Sometimes you just gotta call back your train of thought, people. So, many yards. Sorry. Keep losing it. It's back. I promise it's back. So, with the fabrics, that's just too dear a price. Handsome hubby, because it was our anniversary trip, probably would have been like, okay, go ahead. It's not so much that he allows me, it's just that we try to talk about lots of money being spent when lots of money is going to be spent. But I thought about it and I was like, I would buy this beautiful fabric, fold it up, put it in my fabric piles, and it would sit there probably for years. So I told myself, what about this? And I bought 1 yard of fabric. It is what is called a twill, I think, twill, T-O-I-L-E, and it's where it's kind of a artistic print of usually like forests and people and buildings. This one specifically, smells amazing. It smells like the shop. It smells like spices and wood and maybe a little bit of wood smoke. Just, I hope it, I want to like, maybe I should store it in plastic so every time I pull it out, it smells like this. Anyway, this toil in particular is a colonial Williamsburg toil. There at the top, you can see the governor's palace. There is the courthouse. There in the center, you can see the town. I love that there's a bench all up and down the street. So there were benches every couple of yards. And for someone like me, I needed to rest now and then. And then there's people. You can see the people going about their daily work. And so I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy a 1 yard of this fabric. And then maybe I'll make a bag. Maybe I'll make pockets. Make something out of it to remember my trip by. And always have those lovely views of colonial Williamsburg. See, smart thinking, useful. Ooh. I also bought this book. It's the Guide to Colonial Williamsburg. And I bought it because it has all the information and these big, beautiful color pictures of everything and everywhere. And when I go back, because I'm so going back, it can remind me of everything I love doing. A couple of things maybe I missed, because I did miss a few things. Got a fan. There are a couple of fans there. I'll show you why I picked up this one. It says that back then fans were often decorated with scenes that entertained or taught lessons. They also served as memory aids for keeping important information close at hand. That taught young ladies to stay within their moral compass. Now, I chose this one because it's the first time I've opened it. I just loved the scene. It says, keep within compass, and you shall, that's that moral compass, and you shall be sure to avoid many troubles which others endure. And over here, it's got prudence, virtue, and honesty. And over here it says, I can't read backwards, sorry. Charity, industry, and patience. Anyway, this beautiful decorated fan with just a simple design on the back. It's just paper and wood, but the design was so pretty that I really wanted to get it. And it's a simple, less expensive keepsake that is super, super useful, which we've been over before. Another thing I got was the 2023 calendar. Calendar is an excellent way to remember. Ooh, look, you can see my circle. Hoo-hoo. Wait, come back. Oh, you can see my circle light. You guys, I'm so easily amused. I'm sorry. How can I make that go away? There we go. Their 2023 calendar, because it has some absolutely stunning pictures. And every time I look at it next year, it will remind me of my fantastic trip that I took. There are a couple of like little bags that say colonial, like reusable bags that say Colonial Williamsburg. One of them I do want to show you. It's just a little simple reusable bag that has pineapples all over it. And we kept seeing pineapples everywhere. We finally found out that pineapples, if you presented visitors with a pineapple or cut open a pineapple when visitors came over, it was a symbol of your, like your, not just your wealth, not exactly, it wasn't wealth so much as your willingness to give what's mine is yours and yours is mine, because pineapples were like this amazing delicacy. I love it so much. My husband loved the sailing ships at Jamestown that he got to explore, and so we got him a little figurine of the Susan Constant, one of the sailing ships, and it's in pewter, and he loves that. Obviously, I love the sailing ships too, but so there was one big purchase, which is kind of odd. So when I finally left the dress shop and was like, okay, I got this fabric and a fan and that's it. And he was like, but you didn't spend any money. I was like, there were other things I really wanted, but I feel bad spending that money. And he's like, let's go in together. And I was like, ew, okay. So we walked in and I walked around. I was like, so here's the costumes they've made, none of which will fit me. They're all much smaller sizes. Plus, I think I'd prefer to make my own, even though my own would probably turn out much worse made. It'd probably fit my body better, you know, because those are pre-made. I showed him the beautiful fabrics, including the two that I just loved. He's like, so you don't want any of this fabric? And I said, no, because it will sit on the shelf. And he was like, okay, I understand. And we walked around the whole shop and we got to this place where there were these capes hanging. These beautiful wool capes, especially these dark green ones. And one of them was lined in one of the fabrics that I loved. And I was like, these are so beautiful. And he's like, oh, well, we didn't bring any warm coats. And we had these evening activities like the witch trial and the pirate hanging trial. And the pirate hanging trial was that night. He's like, what if we got a cloak and then we could snuggle up under it together to share it? And I was like, this is like a $300 cloak. It was like $290 something. And I said, it's so expensive because it's 100% wool, like the good stuff. And it's lined in that $20 yard Colonial Williamsburg reproduction fabric. So, and it's very well made. I mean, beautifully made. And my husband said, well, we didn't spend the kind of money here I thought we were going to. So my hubby bought a cloak. It makes me tear up a little bit, you guys, just a little bit. So this is the reproduction fabric, one of them that I loved, that I just loved so much and wanted some of but didn't get. And I love that this cloak is lined with it. And a friend of mine had an idea that I'm not sure if I would do, but maybe. I don't know. She said, you know, if you ever really wanted to make something with that fabric, you could pull out the lining of that cloak and line it with something else. I'm not sure. We'll see. Maybe. This beautiful, beautiful dark green wool cloak. Oh, stunning, warm, comfortable, swishy. And it has this really great pleating feature on the back that kind of makes this beautiful kind of backwards V down the back. And I'm going to show you. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. It's really pretty. Anyway, the one thing I'm not too fond of are these bright green gauze grain ribbon ties. So I think I might replace those with something a little more fitting for it. But this beautiful cloak just brings me joy. Also smells amazing still. And every time I see it, it makes me think of handsome hubby. So that's what I brought back from my super awesome anniversary trip to Colonial Williamsburg. Right now, sewing wise, I've thrown everything down like I always do, and I am rapidly trying to work on these Victorian, late Victorian 1890s mourning clothes for an outing I'm going on this upcoming weekend with my friend for her birthday. It should be really fun, and I'll tell you about it next weekend. A little bit of, just a little something I want to tack on here at the end. Sorry about my videos being late and not on the right days, and I know I promise things and I don't deliver, and I'm sorry. One of my problems is that I'm struggling. I am struggling with depression. It's really hard to say that out loud. And I fight it. I'm always like, no, I'm not. You're fine. You're just tired. You're just sad. You're just fat. I know people don't like that word, and I apologize if you don't like that word, but it's a word I use. So I'm sorry. I am the biggest I've ever been, and it is starting to affect my health. And I am all for big is beautiful. I am all for all shapes, all sizes represent. I am all for it. But there is a point when you gain weight and it starts to affect your health. It's starting to affect my knees. It's starting to affect my lower back. I've been getting acid reflux issues and a couple of other things. I'm not sleeping well. On our trip when we went to Busch Gardens, I couldn't fit on most of the rides, so I didn't go on them. And I know that a lot of people say, well, it's your own fault. It's your own fault. And, you know, I have a thyroid disorder, and it has been slowly causing weight problems since I was 15 years old. And I kept it at bay until my mid-20s. So my light fell and broke. The plastic, everything, it broke. So in the middle of me talking, and my phone stopped recording and everything. So I'm gonna try and do some editing, and put this at the end of the last bit. I was talking about my thyroid disorder. I was talking about how I kept the weight gain mostly at bay until after my divorce in 2005, and how the absolute just crush to my self-esteem that happened because of that divorce. I stopped taking care of myself, and I love my food. I love my takeout. Not great at exercise at all. And I know that I need to make changes, not just, for my looks in any way. This is much deeper. This is my health. And unless I want my health to just get worse and more health issues to pile up on top of each other, I need to make some changes. And I know that some of the biggest changes need to happen up here. So I'm going to start working on that pretty aggressively, because I feel like that's really important for not just my happiness, but my health and my future happiness, especially because I want many, many days with handsome hubby. I've also been struggling with, I think, costuming, because I know a lot of costumers online who make their costumes. They make them just to show their audience. They make them just for content. And they dance around. They say, look, isn't this amazing? I made this. And then they put it away. I can't do that. I can't wrap my brain around that. If I'm going to make something, I want to wear it. I want to go out and frolic with my friends and find some beautiful place to have a picnic or go to tea or a historic building we can tour or I don't know, something. I want to wear it and I want to wear it with others. And it's, I'm getting less and less opportunities. It kind of makes me miss my costuming peers back when I lived in Utah. Because there was like a handful of friends who always showed up. Who, when I said, hey, could we do this? Hey, could we do that? I could always count on them. And COVID had a lot of issues. I mean, I moved up here in 2019 and, just a year before, almost exactly a year before COVID hit. And COVID hit 2 weeks before my birthday in 2020. And so I didn't really have a huge opportunity to make friends with the costuming community. And the few that I did are very busy. And I've tried reaching out to some costumers and cosplayers. I am not biased. But they kind of are like, they kind of give off I have friends, I'm good, vibe. So it's really hard to make friends as adults. Do you find that? And I think that's feeding into my depression a little bit. So, but I get to dress up and go play this weekend. I'm really excited about that. And I will have more for you then. This feels really weird. I'm looking down at my camera. It's propped up on this little hutch desk I have. So now seriously, I really need advice on a ring light thing, maybe one with a brighter light, because we know I struggle with the lighting in here. One that maybe doesn't break so easily, and maybe the camera tilting isn't so weird. I mean, this one, half the time you've probably noticed my videos are like crooked because I couldn't get the camera tilt right. Do you know I appreciate you? I don't know if you do. It's really weird. I don't know how people with like 10 million followers or whatever do it. The other day I was telling Handsome Hubby that there's like a handful of people who always comment or always, I just always see your comments or your likes, or you comment on things on Instagram, and I feel like we're friends. Like I know we've never met, and I know we're all online, but I feel like we're friends. I really do, because you interact with my life. And that's why I do this. I'm struggling to decide if I want to continue to do this after this year. If I do, I have some ideas for kind of a more structured platform. Still very just me being open and honest, but just a little cleaner, I guess. But I don't know. Decisions. Okay. Have a great week, my friends. Drink your Alpine Spice Cider. And, make sure you've got your pumpkins because Halloween's coming up. Okay, bye.